Hi guys, welcome to our channel. Today we are discussing a scary movie in which a father makes a strange mistake and takes his two daughters on a road trip. In a desert where terrible supernatural creatures come to them, the father tries to save his daughters from them. Check the title of the movie in the description.
I'm not going crazy. What? You're not real!
At the movie's beginning, a girl named Maggie cries because of the fight between her sister and her father. After a year, the family seems to be going on a road trip. Claire chats with her boyfriend in the car and looks isolated in the trailer behind the car. They stop at a gas station to refuel and eat lunch, and Maggie informs her sister about this, but Claire does not want to eat lunch and insists on resting in the trailer. Maggie is a little upset with her behavior. Still, the father of the family, Nathan, convinces her that if she reaches her sister's age, she will have the same behavior. He lost his wife to cancer a year ago, and Maggie tells him that she doesn't want to lose him too, while Nathan promises her that he will never leave her. Claire joins them during lunch, and a few moments later, she sees a strange kid outside the restaurant who disappears after a few seconds and thinks it's just an illusion. Her relationship with her father seems not so good because unlike Maggie, she has even forgotten that it is Father's Day. Nathan carries a bottle of red wine with him, and during a flashback, it is revealed that a year ago, he decided to put his wife's ashes in it because of her love for red wine. After that, while leaving the restaurant, the image of some missing people nearby attracts Claire's attention. As she leaves, Nathan advises her to join them in the front of the car, but she says that she is more comfortable in the back of the car in the trailer. After a few hours of driving, they finally reach their destination, somewhere in the desert. Nathan explains this is where he had a date with their mother 17 years ago. He even ate lunch with her at the same restaurant they were at. They stop at this place and he proposes marriage to her right here. Claire, however, seems a little unhappy about coming here and not having the service to text her boyfriend. Moments later, while her father and sister are outside, she looks at a video of her mother, Val, with regret and an inner sadness can be seen in her because of her loss. She tries to inform about herself to her boyfriend in the surrounding mountains by taking an antenna. Still, it is useless, and the remarkable thing is a kid's linen that can be seen near her. Maggie is making a craft with her handmade doll that she has by her side as her mother, when suddenly Nathan comes in and asks her to help him make dinner. At dinner, after playing with each other, out of curiosity, Maggie asks Nathan to smell his drink, and surprisingly, she says that it smells like Claire. This is the beginning of a sisterly argument between the two of them that eventually Maggie goes to the trailer to sleep and Nathan uses this opportunity to start talking about Val so that maybe he can improve his relationship with his daughter. After they remember her beauty, Nathan tries to show that he didn't want to let her go and wants Claire to understand.
I didn't want to let her go, Claire, knowing that you two
I
girls...
said that I don't want to talk about this.
However, Claire doesn't want to talk about it. In a flashback, it is revealed that when Val had cancer, Nathan made a difficult decision to put her out of her pain and let her die. While Claire believed there was still a way to save her mother, Nathan's decision caused a distance between him and his daughter. Now, talking about this makes her leave her father and go inside the trailer, and he stares at his wife's ashes with his mind involved. Hours later, when everyone is sleeping, the shadows suddenly appear and start knocking on the door, so Claire wakes up from the noise. She looks outside, she becomes suspicious and decides to go out. At this moment, Nathan calls her, and calmly puts her to sleep on her bed. Still, it doesn't take long for her to see the face of a scary creature behind the ventilator, and she tells her father with fear that someone is on the roof. Maggie wakes up and after Nathan looks outside, he sees two kids standing outside with scary faces.
Please, will you open the door? We want to show you something.
What's the problem?
Claire asks him not to open the door and informs him that she saw her at the gas station, and warns that they were followed here, but he says that it was 50 miles ago, which is impossible. When the Transcendental asks Nathan to open the door, he doesn't do it and says that we have a gun.
We'll make you come out eventually.
That's not gonna happen.
Finally, the kids threaten them that they will do something to get them out, and then they leave. Moments later, Claire blames her father for coming on this trip. Still, Maggie believes that they came to say goodbye to their mother and gets angry and locks herself in the bathroom. Nathan asks her to apologize to her sister, and he checks the situation himself and returns to the trailer after ensuring those kids are gone. He calmly puts Maggie and Claire to bed. He informs them that he will watch over the night himself, and minutes later, he looks at Val's ashes and remembers moments when his wife was by their side. While one of them is still seen on the ceiling, the night passes. When the morning arrives, Claire is shocked and visualizes her mother's spirit instead of her father. Nathan shows her that the car's engine has been damaged by unknown people in a strange way that it cannot be started anymore, so in a decision, he informs Claire that he is going to the highway to find someone to fix the car. Claire refuses to let him leave them here, but he says there's no choice and promises to return before Maggie wakes up. So he gives her a wireless remote to keep in touch, then leaves his daughter and starts walking down the road to get help. She writes notes about her mother, and when Maggie wakes up, she doesn't want her to know what she wrote. Maggie finds out about her father's departure. Still, when Claire gives her the wireless to talk to Nathan, they can't communicate with him, which worries them greatly. Claire tries again but to no avail, while Nathan stumbles upon a camp on the way up the hill and decides to go there to see if he can get help. Claire approaches Maggie and realizes she is making a craft, then talks to her about the doll she made of their mother. They remember the past when their mother was suffering from illness, yet she would hug both of them and be with them with love and affection.
The dog's blue.
Yeah.
Nathan searches the trailer, but no one is there. He strangely sees the water bottles arranged in a row on the floor. He suspects, and on the other hand, Claire has come out of the bathroom and realizes that her sister left the trailer without her knowledge. She anxiously searches outside, but there is no sign of Maggie, so she heads the road to find her. Nathan also has no choice but to go inside the trailer, and there he sees a dead body lying in a corner. After approaching him, he sees a man who killed himself days ago in a horrible way. Around him, he sees signs that it is possible that the same kids killed him. On the other hand, while searching for her sister, Claire enters an abandoned place and sees kids' sneakers arranged in a row like water bottles. Then she sees some terribly dismembered dolls, and in the meantime, she sees a doll of her mother that Maggie made. After finding some horrible drawings of some children around the body, Nathan suddenly becomes worried about his daughters and immediately leaves the trailer. Moments later, Claire hears Maggie's voice from inside a trailer, but as soon as she enters, she only sees a doll sitting on a chair. The door suddenly closes behind her, and her mother's ghost appears there in a terrifying way. A few seconds later, she sees Val in the corner of the trailer, who is quickly approaching her. At that moment, her father comes to her aid and opens the door. Shocked and crying, Claire explains that she is looking for Maggie, but as soon as they return to their trailer, it becomes clear that Maggie is there. Nathan hugs her first, then blames her for leaving there, and on the other hand, Maggie explains that she heard his voice, and that's why she went out. Nathan warns both of them not to leave the trailer without permission. He informs them that they have to stay tonight, and all three of them will go to the highway together tomorrow morning. In the evening, he informs Claire about the camp where a person was forced to commit suicide without Maggie knowing, and Claire also talks to him about the voices she heard from Maggie. Nathan warns that if those kids come again, she and Maggie must not leave the trailer. At night, Nathan and Claire are surprised by Maggie's handiwork and praise her for the house and dolls she made, while at the same time, Nathan's memories of the past appear in his mind. He tells Maggie that it's time to sleep, and that's enough for tonight. Suddenly, moments later, noises are heard from outside. It turns out that the intruders threatened them this time by emptying gasoline on the trailer. Before going out, Nathan promises Maggie he will return and asks his daughters to take shelter in the bathroom. He turns off the fire to prevent a fire and warns the attackers. Suddenly, a supernatural kid with a scary face appears behind him.
Will you play with me?
Nathan runs into the car, but they don't give up. He talks to Claire and Maggie on the wireless, but the connection is lost, and Claire decides to go outside to find out what's happening. Maggie closes the bathroom door while crying out of fear. Moments later, Val's spirit appears on all three of them. She asks Maggie and Claire to let her in, while Val calls Nathan a selfish person who can't even protect their daughter and blames him for her death. Nathan says to himself that you are not real.
Don't you want to play with Mama?
You're the reason I'm dead.
Claire, just let me in.
She disappears. On the other hand, the extraterrestrials bother Claire by knocking on the trailer. After a few seconds, these sounds stop. She hears Maggie's voice from inside the bathroom talking to someone and goes to her worriedly and asks her to open the door. Still, she doesn't answer, and Claire finally forcefully opens the bathroom door. When she enters, unfortunately, She sees that Maggie was killed terribly in the tub, and blood is everywhere. Shocked, she comes out, and on the other hand, Nathan manages to trap the extraterrestrials in the car with a trick and then immediately escapes into the trailer before they catch him. Claire informs her father about what happened to Maggie. Still, when he checks the bathroom, fortunately, it turns out that Maggie's death was just a hallucination for Claire and nothing more. However, there is no sign of Maggie. Focusing on the evidence he has seen so far, Nathan understands that the extraterrestrials read kids, so they were looking for Maggie from the beginning. He leaves the trailer to find her, and Claire remembers the past and takes her mother's ashes with her. They both admit to seeing Val, and Claire believes that maybe her spirit is trying to tell them something. Meanwhile, they see Maggie playing near that abandoned place and quickly chase after her, but they can't find her. Finally, following her leads to the same trailer Claire was trapped in earlier. Unlike her father, Claire decides to wait outside, and a few minutes after his arrival, a group of extraterrestrials come out of there strangely and move towards her. Nathan sees Val. She touches him, and has flashbacks from the past as the extraterrestrials suddenly attack Claire. They finally catch her and touch her horribly as Nathan remembers the past and realizes that Val asked him to let her go when the time came. Nathan says, "My Val is dead, and you are not Val." Then, hearing the voice of help from Claire, he lets her go, and when he reaches Claire, he asks her to drop the bottle for him. By releasing Val's ashes, time goes back, and the extraterrestrials disappears. They hug each other, and the darkness is gone. They find Maggie crying in the corner of the trailer. Maggie cries and says, "I saw Mom," but her dad says she wasn't Mom, then hugs them, and they leave the trailer a little later as the sun rises. At the movie's end, Maggie says that if we want to go on a trip next time, go to the hotel. Don't forget to like the video, and subscribe to our channel.